What is particularly intriguing is that some scientists claim the Sphinx could be connected to ancient astronomy, perhaps built to accurately reflect the movements of stars. But this is not all. Do you have any idea of the vast amount of knowledge about ancient Egyptian culture that might be hidden in its shadow? Imagine if the concrete used by the ancient Romans had become so strong that its ability to withstand time only increased. And this is not just a myth. With the addition of volcanic ash, Roman concrete could harden even underwater, allowing them to build extraordinary structures that still stand today. The engineers of ancient Rome created aqueducts that delivered fresh water to cities up to 100 kilometers away, and the sound of water flowing through these waterways can still be heard in some of them. Have you ever felt the pleasant coolness inside Roman baths, where even in the heat, one could enjoy the comfort provided by the artful architecture? Many baths, such as the famous baths of Caracalla, were not only places for bathing, but also centers of social life, where people exchanged news, discussed important events, and simply relaxed. Their mosaic floors, laid out with colorful stones, still astonish with their beauty and craftsmanship. Roman roads, built using multi-layered concrete, ensured durability and longevity. Some of them are still in use today, while many modern roads have already lost their appearance. Isn't it interesting? Romans used special paving techniques that allowed their roads to withstand enormous loads, and they also had slopes to drain water. Have you ever touched the smooth surface of a stone polished by centuries? This sensation connects us with the past, with those who built these magnificent structures and used them in their daily lives. Much of this was possible due to the quality of materials and the high skill of ancient builders, who used lime and concrete, allowing the aqueducts to withstand the load. And when you imagine these magnificent structures, it's impossible not to wonder, what other secrets are hidden in the depths of ancient cities, waiting to be discovered by modern people? In the mountains of China, granite discs with a diameter of 30 centimeters were discovered, and their history has sparked heated debates among scientists and researchers. These artifacts, featuring a central hole and spiral grooves reminiscent of micro-engraving, were found in 1938 by archaeologist Chi-Pu Tay. What makes this discovery particularly intriguing is the claim that these patterns depict a crashed spaceship, leaving many to wonder if it is true. The discs were found in isolated mountain caves, where silence and darkness create an atmosphere of genuine mystery, as if they were guarding secrets waiting to be revealed. The spiral patterns, seemingly etched into stone, captivate researchers, evoking a sense of touching something potentially extraterrestrial. Despite the compelling narrative, many scientists believe these discs to be nothing more than a hoax, playing on people's imagination. Around these discs, a fierce battle of opinions has erupted. Some are convinced of their authenticity and significance, while others point to inconsistencies in the accounts of their origin. Just when it seems the solution is near, new facts only deepen the mystery. There are even theories that these discs could have been created by ancient people seeking to record their knowledge of the cosmos and the world, but who were they, truly? The walls of the caves where the artifacts were found hold the breath of time, and each step on their stone floor seems to transport us to an era when these discs were not just objects, but keys to understanding our history. Imagine the lives of those who created these enigmatic symbols and their views of the universe. Some researchers even suggest that the patterns could be part of an ancient navigation system linked to the stars. After all, some of them might have contained recipes for extraordinary medicines or philosophical treatises that could have changed our views of the world. Consider this the next time you turn the pages of your favorite book. Perhaps it once awaited its reader in Alexandria, surrounded by the sound of rustling scrolls and the scent of parchment, illuminated by the soft light of oil. The Sphinx, with its mysterious appearance, seems to harbor more secrets than we can imagine. Some geologists claim that the erosion marks on its body could be evidence of long periods of rain that lasted thousands of years ago. The thing is, The water that could erode stone could not have existed in the region for the last 10,000 years, as the climate has become much drier. This opens up the possibility of a theory according to which the Sphinx was created long before historians started talking about it. Research shows that these marks resemble the results of the action on stone typical of flooded territories, leading to the thought that this structure could have been created during a time when Egyptian lands were more humid and green. But what is most intriguing about this is the astronomical orientation of the Sphinx. It is precisely directed towards the constellation of Leo. Such positions could have been used only in the 10th millennium before our era. This time, when the sky created special patterns that could have inspired ancient architects to create this colossal work of art. Imagine how light and shadow play on its weathered face, giving it a timeless appearance. Each stone, each scar on the body of the Sphinx tells its own story, and its silent grandeur evokes a feeling that it has witnessed entire epochs. These details make us realize that we are only scratching the surface when it comes to understanding its true age and purpose. Many artifacts found here indicate that the inhabitants practiced complex rituals, but what specific events led to the disappearance of this splendor? Under the bright sunlight reflecting off the smooth stones, Teotihuacan hides secrets that could change our understanding of ancient civilizations. Imagine crystal skulls found in Central America. Their flawless polish shines in the sun, as if they were carved from the very heart of the earth. Each skull possesses anatomical precision that even the most experienced sculptors find astonishing. These artifacts are more than just figurines. They can refract light in such a way that it seems as if live energy flows within them. The cold crystal feels almost tangible when you touch its surface, and the light passing through the transparent material creates an effect that can captivate anyone who looks at it. And imagine meeting the gaze of these empty eye sockets. They seem to watch you, evoking a sense of some mystical connection to the past. But who created these mysterious skulls? Some researchers claim they are ancient artifacts with mystical properties, used by priests in rituals related to life and death. Others believe they are merely skillful forgeries from the 19th century, created to deceive naive collectors. For instance, in 1930, one of the skulls became the subject of a scandal when its authenticity was called into question after a thorough analysis. What makes it even stranger? Scientific research has shown that the technologies used to create them were not available at the time, adding another layer of mystery. How could someone in that era create such complex forms from crystalline material? But do you know there are theories connecting the gates of the sun to broader astronomical observations that span the entire Tiwanaku? Around this monument, debates continue, fueling interest in its mysteries. Every detail, from size to symbolism, invites contemplation. What else might these stones, which have endured to our time, be hiding? Do you know that even in the Neolithic period, our ancestors were capable of performing trepanation? It's astonishing, but archaeologists have found skulls with precisely drilled holes that indicate a high level of medical knowledge at the time. Imagine an ancient surgeon carefully and slowly puncturing the skull bone with a stone tool to relieve pressure or even treat injuries. The findings show that many patients survived these operations. Signs of healing on the skulls confirm that this risky procedure did indeed yield results. For instance, in Pompeii, surgical instruments were discovered that were true works of art, sharp as a razor and precise enough for delicate procedures. But what is truly remarkable is that despite primitive conditions, ancient surgeons used herbs as anesthetics, creating scents that could soothe patients. Picture the sound of tools striking bone and the mix of anxious thoughts about pain and hope for recovery. Egyptian medical papyri reveal even more secrets. They describe treatments like using honey for wound healing and the use of various herbs known for their healing properties. Research continues, but one thing is clear. The Cro-Magnons opened the doors to a world of creativity that became the foundation for future generations. And what is even more astonishing, some scientists have discovered that in their arsenal, they had not just tools, but true artistic technologies used to create masterpieces that can still awe even contemporary masters. Do you know that some of the oldest observatories were built long before people invented telescopes? For example, the Göcek Circle in Germany, dating back to around 4,900 years before our era, is an incredible engineering achievement of its time. This Neolithic structure consists of concentric circles made of earthen banks, wooden posts, and palisades, which are precisely oriented to track the sunrise and sunset on key days of the year, such as the solstices. Imagine the pre-dawn silence as the first rays of light begin to filter through the openings between the ancient structures, creating a sense of magic and anticipation. At such moments, observers could feel connected to the cosmic cycles, the very cycles that governed their lives and agriculture. But the Göcek Circle is not the only example. Stonehenge in Britain, with its massive stones, also served as an observatory, allowing ancient people to record important astronomical events. Newgrange in Ireland, built around the same time, is a tomb, but its entrance is aligned so that sunlight illuminates the inner chambers on the winter solstice. And the observatories of the Maya, such as Uxmal, used complex astronomical calculations to predict solar and lunar eclipses, enabling them to create a calendar based on natural cycles. These structures were not just for observation. They became centers of cultural life, places where communities gathered to mark important events, such as the start of the planting season. And as the sun slowly rises above the horizon, its disk appears perfectly framed between the stones, filling everyone present with a deep sense of unity with the cosmos. The wind whispers among the sands, creating a sense of magic, and the heat of the desert intensifies the contrast between the lifeless landscape and the refinement of these ancient creations. What's even more astonishing? Some drawings perfectly match constellations, suggesting that the ancient Nazca people may have possessed astronomical knowledge that we still cannot fully comprehend. Did you know what's most amazing? The Egyptian pyramids were built with such precision that the gaps between the stone blocks are less than 1 millimeter. Imagine this. Each block weighs up to 80 tons, and yet their fitting is so perfect that even modern engineers find it incredible. These architectural giants not only impress with their size, but also with the accuracy of their orientation towards the cardinal directions. The angles of the pyramids deviate by only a few minutes from the ideal coordinates. Surrounding the pyramids is the scorching sun of the desert, and the sound of stones grinding against each other creates a rhythm that is easy to imagine when hundreds of workers toil on the construction site, sweating under the hot rays. The aroma of fresh limestone mixes with the scent of sweat, creating a unique atmosphere where every detail, from the shadow cast by the pyramid at sunset to the muffled voice of commands, seems part of a grand plan. But what is truly shocking? How did the ancient Egyptians move these colossal blocks? Some scientists propose the use of inclined planes, others suggest systems of levers, and still others talk about waterways that could have facilitated transportation. Each theory opens up new avenues for discussion. And imagine the thousands of workers who labored in the shadows of these monuments, each knowing that they were part of creating something that would awe future generations. But this is not the end. 80 years after the tomb was opened, in 1992, another researcher who handled Tutankhamun's artifacts also died under mysterious circumstances. Have you ever wondered what really lies behind these curses? Scientific research continues, and new discoveries may even shock the most skeptical of scientists. Do you know that in the heart of Mexico lies a city that still guards its secrets beneath the dense foliage of the jungle? Ancient Mérida, founded during the classical Maya era, is a unique blend of architectural styles, where each stone tells a story. Here you will see buildings that combine elements of Maya and Toltec cultures, as well as the influence of Spanish colonizers. For example, the famous Pyramid of Kukulkan, standing at 32 meters tall, demonstrates the complex mathematical calculations used by ancient builders to create perfect symmetry. This pyramid is not just an architectural masterpiece, but also a place of numerous rituals connected with the worship of the god of rain. Merida was not only a religious center, but also a significant trade hub connecting various cultures, including the Toltecs, Maya, and even the Spanish. Researchers believe that trade routes passing through this city linked Central America with other regions, facilitating not only the exchange of goods, but also ideas. Among the artifacts discovered during excavations are ceramics with distinctive patterns that clearly highlight the influence of other civilizations, including the Aztecs. But that's not all. Among the finds were rare items such as intricately carved jade ornaments dated to thousands of years ago, which, according to scientists, could have been brought from distant Guatemala. Imagine the dense green jungle surrounding these ancient walls, creating a unique atmosphere where the sounds of the tropical forest, from the rustling of leaves to the melodies of exotic birds, fill the air. Their efforts were perhaps not only fueled by physical strength, but also by astronomical knowledge, as many of these structures clearly follow celestial bodies. And if you thought all this was already known, here's another mystery. How did they create such massive structures with absolutely perfect proportions that remain in harmony with nature and time? Imagine the magnificent cities of the Maya, once teeming with life and vibrant colors, now shrouded in silence and mystery. During the 8th and 9th centuries of our era, these magnificent centers of civilization suddenly emptied, leaving behind only the rustling of leaves that entwine the abandoned temples and the sounds of wild animals that now fill the once bustling streets. How could this have happened? One of the most widely discussed theories is climate change. Research shows that during this period, there were several severe droughts lasting up to 20 years, which devastated agriculture and led to famine. Can you imagine what people must have felt as their fields, once filled with corn, withered before their eyes? But this is not the most peculiar aspect. Some scientists argue that the depletion of natural resources played a crucial role. Forests were cleared for construction and to create terraces for agriculture, and soon every tree became priceless. A sense of desolation and decline permeated the lives of the Maya. How could they survive in such circumstances? And here, discussions about social unrest begin. Discontent among the population grew, and conflicts between different cities may have been the cause of even greater destruction. Wars over resources and power likely tore the society apart, leaving it in a state of chaos. What is even more shocking, epidemics could also have played a part. In conditions of overpopulation and food shortages, diseases spread rapidly, claiming the lives of thousands. Behind every abandoned building, every moss-covered stone, lies a story of people who once lived there but disappeared like leaves carried away by the wind. Some researchers even find evidence of brutal conflicts in archaeological excavations, remnants of weapons and destroyed buildings, which confirm that internal strife could have exacerbated the already critical situation. And what remains of this great civilization, shrouded in the mysteries of the past? Every step in this place is a journey into the unknown, into a world where secrets intertwine with reality. And the most astonishing thing? Many scientists continue to study these stones, hoping to unravel the mystery of their origin and purpose, but the questions of how and why this place was built remain unanswered. Did you know what happened to one of the most advanced ancient civilizations? In the valley of the Indus River, where life once thrived, tall buildings and a complex street system created a unique urban atmosphere that rivaled modern megacities. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were architectural marvels. Streets intersected at right angles, and houses were built from fired bricks, ensuring durability and protection from the elements. What's more, they had sophisticated sewage systems that provided cleanliness and sanitation, which were beyond the reach of many contemporary cities. These cities even used standardized weights and measures, indicating a high level of trade and organization. But what caused this civilization to vanish from the face of the earth? One theory suggests that changes in the river courses, which once supplied the cities with water, played a crucial role in their decline. But that's not all. Climate change could have led to drought, making agriculture, which was the basis of their economy, Impossible. And then come the most shocking aspects. Invasions by Aryan tribes coming from the north could have contributed to the destruction of this great civilization. But that's not all. Epidemics, spread through crowded streets filled with markets and workshops, could have decimated the population. Imagine the bustle of crowded streets where traders hawked their wares, and the scents of spices and fresh produce mingled with the aroma of smoldering coal. Gradually, however, these streets began to empty. In Mohenjo-Daro stood a magnificent citadel that once served as the center of governance and religious life, and nearby was the Great Bath, a place for ritual purification that symbolized cleanliness and order in society. Against this majestic backdrop, ancient people could realize that they were not just spectators, but active participants in a grand cosmic drama, where every movement of the celestial bodies held significance. How did they accurately determine such moments? The secret lay in meticulous observations and records passed down through generations, allowing them to create star charts that still amaze with their precision. Nefertiti, about whom rumors and legends still circulate, vanished from history, leaving behind only a mystery. This woman was not only the wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten, but also played a key role in his religious revolution when the worship of the single god Aton replaced the traditional beliefs of Egypt. Nefertiti is depicted on numerous bas-reliefs and statues, which emphasize her extraordinary beauty and influence. She has perfect facial features and expressive eyes that seem to follow you wherever you go. How many people admired her when her portraits filled the temples and palaces? But what is most intriguing is that after the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, mentions of Nefertiti disappear. How is this possible? There are many theories about her fate. One suggests she may have died from an epidemic that swept the country, while another proposes she was exiled from the court when opposition to the religious reforms began. But there is an even more captivating version. Some researchers suggest that Nefertiti may have changed her name and ruled under the name of Smenkhkare, allowing her to continue influencing Egyptian politics even after her supposed death. This hypothesis becomes even more intriguing if we consider that Smenkhkare's reign was short and shrouded in mystery. There are no archaeological evidence to confirm or refute this version. In their search for her tomb, archaeologists have found many clues, but none have led to definitive results. In the 20th century, a mummy known as the Young Lady was discovered, whose facial features bear an astonishing resemblance to Nefertiti. However, it remains unclear whether she truly belongs to the Great Queen or is just another misinterpretation. Each year, new research and technologies such as computed tomography and genetic analyses give scientists hope for unraveling this ancient mystery. How complex and tangled are the paths of history? Each of these references makes one ponder how the knowledge of ancient civilizations could have surpassed their time. And if you think that's all, consider this even more astonishing claim. These texts mention that the Vimanas had control systems that could seem familiar to us only because of modern scientific achievements. The Curse of the Pharaohs is not just a myth, but a genuine mystery that shocked the world. The most famous story involves Lord Carnarvon, who died suddenly shortly after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Just a few months after entering the musty air of the ancient burial chamber, his life was cut short under mysterious circumstances. He fell ill with a fever, his face turned yellow like a corpse, and his death was shrouded in an atmosphere of mystique and fear. Many believed it to be a curse, invoked by the ominous hieroglyphs warning against desecrating the sanctuaries of the dead. But this is not the only case. Some claim that several members of the expedition perished after the tomb was opened, including a renowned archaeologist who later found himself in similarly terrifying circumstances. But did you know that scientists have proposed scientific explanations for this phenomenon? One theory suggests that toxic mold fungi, which thrive in tombs, can cause serious illnesses. Imagine entering dark burial chambers where the dim light of torches barely illuminates the ancient hieroglyphs on the walls and the musty air fills your lungs. It can be not only eerie, but also dangerous. But that's not all. There is a hypothesis about psychosomatic effects, where fear and the expectation of a curse can lead to real illnesses and even death. Picture standing at the threshold of a 1,000-year-old tomb, and your imagination conjures up images of ancient rituals and sacrifices. The sense of unease grows, and each of your steps echoes in the silence. How does that feel? The mysteries of Atlantis continue to fascinate minds, and new research continues to open doors to the vast depths of history. And imagine this. Perhaps in one of these places, hidden artifacts could be found that could change our understanding of ancient cultures. The Great Sphinx of Giza is not just a statue, but a mysterious monument measuring 73 meters in length and 20 meters in height, seemingly observing us from ancient times. This monolithic sculpture, carved from limestone, holds numerous secrets, and its creation dates back to the reign of Pharaoh Khafra, making it one of the oldest monuments on Earth. What is truly astonishing is the multitude of theories about its purpose. Some believe it was a guardian of the necropolis, protecting the tombs of the pharaohs, while others see it as a representation of the solar deity. Still others suggest it served as an astronomical marker, pointing to significant moments in the solar cycle. But there is more to the story. Have you heard of the Dream of Thutmosis? This legend tells of how Pharaoh Thutmosis IV, who fell asleep at the Sphinx's paws, received a revelation that changed his fate, and who knows what hidden chambers might lie beneath its massive paws. Modern research indicates that there could be unknown caves beneath the Sphinx, filled with artifacts waiting to be discovered. Imagine the interplay of light and shadow on its weathered face at different times of the day. The morning sun gently touches its features, while the evening twilight gives it a mysterious aura, as if it guards secrets beyond the reach of modern humans. Many scholars believe that they possessed complex knowledge of celestial movements and astronomy, passed down through generations. What is most astonishing is that even today, not all the mysteries of these structures have been unraveled, and scientists continue to explore how and why they were built with such precision. At the heart of Mexico lies Teotihuacan, a city that once was one of the largest megacities of antiquity and is considered one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Its pyramids of the sun and the moon, towering against the blue sky, are awe-inspiring in their scale. The Pyramid of the Sun reaches 60 meters in height, and its base covers an area comparable to that of an entire city. The Avenue of the Dead, leading to these monumental structures, stretches for more than a mile, creating a sense of infinity and grandeur, while the echo of footsteps off the ancient walls fills the space with a mysterious atmosphere. What is truly remarkable, however, is that the creators of this grand city remain unknown, despite many believing them to be the Aztecs, who arrived here much later. The geometric layout of Teotihuacan is astonishing in its precision. Streets and squares are so meticulously arranged that it seems as if the city was designed according to strict mathematical calculations. The wind whispering between the pyramids tells stories that could be told if only the walls could speak. Each stone here holds secrets that may never be revealed. The smaller, yet no less majestic Pyramid of the Moon creates an effect of proximity, as if inviting researchers to ascend its peak and view the city from above. But this is not all. The unique water supply system, consisting of canals and reservoirs, testifies to a high level of engineering prowess. Imagine how complex life in Teotihuacan must have been when its streets were filled with people and markets echoed with the sounds of trade. Yet, over the centuries, this great city was abandoned, leaving behind numerous questions about the reasons for its decline. How could such greatness be forgotten? The mystery surrounding Teotihuacan remains one of the most intriguing enigmas of archaeology, and scholars continue to seek answers by delving into the study of its architecture, rituals, and social structure. But what is even more intriguing is how the ancient builders could have created such a complex system without modern technologies. Perhaps the secret lay in the use of simple but effective mechanisms that allowed water to be lifted to great heights. What is most astonishing? Some historians even suggest that the Hanging Gardens could have been nothing more than a romantic myth, born of a nostalgic view of the past. On the remote island of Easter, there stand monumental statues known as moai, reaching heights of up to 10 meters and weighing up to 80 tons, like silent sentinels gazing into the distance at the boundless ocean. These giants, carved from volcanic tuff with remarkable precision, possess distinctive features, massive heads with long noses and expressive faces that evoke a sense of wisdom and power. The moai are arranged along the coast, primarily facing the sea, which raises even more questions about their role in the culture of the island's inhabitants. What is even more mysterious? There are numerous theories regarding the transportation of these giants from the quarries to their final resting places. Some researchers suggest that the statues were moved on logs, like rollers, while others propose that the moai walked, swaying from side to side. Imagine the roar of the ocean waves crashing against the shore and the wind blowing past the stern faces of the stone colossi, creating an atmosphere of isolation and mystery that envelops the entire island. This auditory backdrop, combined with the majestic statues, creates a unique atmosphere where time seems to stand still. But that's not all. Archaeologists continue to uncover new evidence that forces us to rethink how these giants were created and what purpose they served. With each new discovery, we get closer to understanding these wonders, and each stone we study can tell its own story. For example, in Nubia, archaeologists have found traces of stone processing that confirm that these technologies were widespread throughout the region. The most astonishing thing is that many of these methods may remain inaccessible to modern people. There is something astonishing about how different civilizations, located at vast distances from each other, created architectural structures that are remarkably similar. For instance, the pyramids in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and China, despite their cultural and geographical differences, share common features. They served not only as tombs, but also as symbols of power and connection to the divine. The height of the Pyramid of Khufu is 146 meters, while the pyramids of Tenochtitlan in Mexico, although smaller, were built with the same precision and attention to astronomical phenomena. What is even more intriguing is that in each of these cultures, the pyramids are strictly oriented towards the cardinal directions, which suggests a common source of knowledge. Now, imagine that the sun, which they all revered, had similar symbols. Solar disks, circles, and spirals are found in both Egyptian and Mayan artifacts. These images could have been transmitted through trade routes, but some scholars suggest a deeper connection, a hypothesis of a mother civilization from which different peoples drew their knowledge. But wait, there's more. The myths of the flood, which exist in many cultures, from the Sumerians to the Native Americans, also raise questions. How could such a similar concept of catastrophe have emerged if the peoples never met? Answers may lie in the ideas of diffusionism, a theory that ideas and technologies spread through contacts between cultures, even if these contacts were rare. For example, the discovery of ancient texts describing similar construction methods, such as the use of arches and vaults, indicates that many ancient peoples may have exchanged knowledge. In China, during the Han Dynasty, constructions were built that resembled South American temples, although the distance between them exceeds several thousand kilometers. This world was filled with belief in the continuation of life after death, where every detail mattered. And don't forget that the process of mummification could take up to 70 days, as each stage was crucial for ensuring a safe transition to the afterlife. For centuries, there have been societies that preserved knowledge inaccessible to most, and their rituals often seemed like genuine magic. For instance, the mysteries of Eleusis in ancient Greece attracted numerous followers eager to uncover the secrets of life and death. Participants underwent complex initiation rituals, including symbolic journeys to the underworld, where they discovered the secrets of the eternal cycle of life. These rituals were often performed in semi-darkness, by the light of torches, creating an atmosphere of mystery and sacred awe. The Pythagorean Union, meanwhile, not only studied mathematics and astronomy, but also developed philosophical teachings that linked numerical relationships to cosmic order. Members of this society took oaths of silence and followed strict rules, making their knowledge even more alluring and inaccessible to outsiders. Pythagoreans believed that numbers were the keys to understanding the universe, and their multi-layered system of initiation allowed only the chosen few to grasp the depths of these insights. But that's not the most extraordinary thing. The cult of Mithras, which emerged in the Roman Empire, included rituals related to hunting and sacrifices, as well as ceremonies symbolizing the victory of light over darkness. These ceremonies were conducted in underground sanctuaries, where mystics and initiates gathered in secret, passing down symbolic gestures and passwords from generation to generation. What's even more astonishing, these secret societies not only preserved practical knowledge such as medicine and astronomy, but also philosophical concepts that addressed questions about the nature of reality and the human soul. The sense of belonging to ancient knowledge, inaccessible to most, created a unique atmosphere where each member felt part of something greater. Each skull holds its own story, and many researchers continue to try to unravel their secrets, debating their origin. Each of these skulls weighs more than 30 kilograms, making them not only visually impressive, but also physically powerful. These enigmatic works of art remain at the center of attention, and their study opens up endless possibilities for further research. Each scroll of the Library of Alexandria held secrets and knowledge that could have altered the course of history. This library, once the greatest in the ancient world, contained as many as 700,000 scrolls collected from all around the Mediterranean. Every ship that entered the port of Alexandria was subjected to strict control. Copies of all texts were taken from it, allowing for the creation of a unique collection of works by philosophers, scholars, and poets. Imagine vast halls filled with the rustling of papyrus scrolls, where the soft light of oil lamps created a magical atmosphere, illuminating ancient texts that could tell us about science, medicine, and art, things we can only dream of. But alas, the fate of this intellectual hub was tragic. Various theories about its demise continue to captivate historians. One of the most prevalent theories suggests that a fire during the siege of Alexandria by Julius Caesar consumed not only the books, but also the hopes of preserving knowledge. However, this is not the only version. Another theory proposes that the library was destroyed by order of Caliph Omar, who, according to legend, declared that if the texts contradicted the Quran, they were unnecessary, and if they agreed, they could be found in the Quran. And there's more. Many believe that the library gradually declined, losing scrolls and knowledge with each passing year, like water sinking into sand. Can you imagine what the world would be like if that catastrophe had not occurred? How many discoveries could have been made if those texts had been preserved? The library symbolized humanity's pursuit of knowledge, and its destruction became a symbol of loss. Hidden within this dark episode are not only losses, but also questions. What would our understanding of ancient culture be like if those scrolls were restored? Imagine how impressive their role must have been in the lives of ancient peoples, when each stone was imbued with symbolic meaning and was in harmony with the surrounding world. In Costa Rica, new spheres continue to be discovered, raising even more questions about their role in the lives of the people who created them. How would you react if you found one of these spheres in the forest? The underwater kingdom of the Bahamas conceals a mysterious structure in its depths, reminiscent of a scene from a fantasy novel, The Road to Bimini. These precisely arranged rectangular blocks, submerged in crystal-clear water, indeed resemble a paved road, but how did they come to be? Some researchers claim they are remnants of an ancient civilization, possibly Atlantis, the subject of so many myths and legends. It is intriguing that in the 20th century, Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, predicted that the traces of Atlantis would be found in this very region. His prophecy makes one wonder, Could these stone blocks have been part of a great city submerged millions of years ago? On the other hand, scientists are not rushing to conclusions and propose hypotheses that this structure could be the result of natural geological processes. Water currents, erosion, and tectonic shifts could create such forms, but how to explain the perfect straight lines and angles that simply could not have formed randomly? Imagine the sunlight filtering through the water's surface, playing on the stone blocks, while swaying seaweed, like green tentacles, wrap around them, creating a mysterious atmosphere in the underwater world. Researchers diving into these waters can feel the energy of the ancient past. Descending to the depths, they find that not only the blocks themselves, but also the ecosystems surrounding them, are teeming with life. Colorful fish, tiny crabs, and even sea turtles eager to explore this enigmatic landscape. Each step through these ruins transports you to another time when life thrived here, and different cultures intersected, creating a remarkable kaleidoscope. And the most fascinating thing? Some researchers believe that in Merida, mysterious rituals connected with astronomical observations may have taken place, which remain unsolved to this day. The Aztecs developed an incredibly complex system of calendars that is remarkable for its precision and depth. Their ritual calendar, known as Tonalpohualli, lasted for 260 days and consisted of 20 periods of 13 days each. Each day had its own name and symbol, creating a unique combination that allowed the Aztecs to associate days with specific events and rituals. At the same time, there was the solar calendar, Xiuhpohualli, which lasted for 365 days. These two calendars worked together, creating a complex cycle of 52 years, known as the bundle. This precise alignment allowed the Aztecs to predict important astronomical phenomena, such as solar and lunar eclipses, with extraordinary accuracy. Every 52 years, the Aztecs celebrated the new fire ceremony, during which they feared the end of the world. At this time, they lit a new fire on the top of a large hill, symbolizing the beginning of a new cycle. According to their beliefs, if the fire did not light, the world could descend into chaos. During this period, they carefully observed the stars, recording every change to correctly interpret the signs of the gods. The rhythmic flow of time in their culture was inextricably linked to their religious beliefs, where each day, week, and month had its own significance and purpose. This created an atmosphere of constant expectation and anticipation among the Aztecs, as they knew that every astronomical event carried a message from the divine. Their methods of astronomical observation and mathematical calculations were so precise that many modern researchers are amazed by their knowledge. Now we can read ancient scrolls and understand how people in that time perceived life, death, and divinity. And the most remarkable thing? Champollion was able to decipher more than 2,000 symbols, opening access to countless texts that had previously been incomprehensible. Have you ever wondered how ancient civilizations could build structures with such precision that they interacted with celestial phenomena? For instance, the Temple of Abu Simbel, constructed in the 13th century BC, is illuminated by sunlight twice a year, on the winter and summer solstices, in such a way that the statues inside the temple begin to shine, creating a mesmerizing interplay of light and shadow. These moments evoke a sense of awe in viewers. Imagine the hushed admiration of modern-day visitors as sunlight streams into the temple, as if opening a portal to the celestial realm. And what about the Pyramid of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza? During the equinoxes, when day and night are equal, the shadows on its steps create the illusion of a serpent descending. The play of light creates a spectacle that leaves onlookers awestruck and amazed. As the sun begins to set, it seems as if nature itself is celebrating with the people. At Stonehenge, built around 5,000 years ago, the massive megaliths are perfectly aligned with the sunrise on the summer solstice. Each year, thousands gather to witness the moment when the first rays of sunlight touch the stones, creating an extraordinary atmosphere. These ancient structures are not merely architectural marvels. They are true astronomical instruments that capture moments when celestial bodies interact with Earth. How could they have calculated these phenomena with such accuracy? Ayurvedic practices in India included massages and treatments with natural components to restore patients' vitality. It was an era when medicine and magic intertwined, and every sound, every herb played a role in saving lives. And the most amazing thing? Some procedures performed thousands of years ago are still used in modern medical practices. In the jungles of Costa Rica, scattered are mysterious stone spheres that evoke both admiration and curiosity. These spheres vary in diameter from several centimeters to 2.5 meters and can weigh up to 16 tons. They are primarily composed of granodiorite, which gives them hardness and durability. But what is most astonishing is their nearly perfect spherical shape, which is breathtaking. How did ancient craftsmen achieve such precision? What is even more intriguing is that these stone spheres are arranged in specific geometric patterns, creating enigmatic compositions that are difficult to explain. Some researchers suggest that they could have served as astronomical markers, indicating significant celestial events such as equinoxes or solstices. Others believe they were symbols of status, meant to denote the power and influence of certain groups in ancient society. It is also interesting that some spheres might have been used as navigational aids, helping travelers orient themselves in the dense tropical forests. The humid air of the jungle fills the atmosphere, creating a contrast between the ideal, man-made forms and the chaotic vegetation that surrounds these spheres. Imagine walking along narrow paths, filled with the scent of damp earth and exotic plants, and suddenly coming across a perfectly smooth sphere gleaming in the sunlight. The sensation of touching an ancient enigma fills you with awe. But this is not all. Some spheres were found with signs of processing, indicating that their creation was a complex and laborious process. How could people living at that time create such works of art using only primitive tools? There are only a few hundred such spheres, and they are all located in specific regions of the country, adding to the mystery. The gleaming gold, delicate lines, and complex forms create an atmosphere of mystery and a desire to learn more about what else is hidden in the history of our planet. And what's even more shocking? Some researchers believe that these golden airplanes might not just be artifacts, but evidence that humanity has always sought flight, even when technology was far from what we have today. Unexpectedly, like a flash of light in a dark cave, the Cro-Magnons appear on the stage of history, and their art shocks. These people, modern to us in their anatomy, left behind cave paintings that astound with their realism and detail. In the caves where the flickering light of primitive lamps dances on the damp walls, red and black colors, meticulously painted on stone, reflect the firelight. Each stroke, each outline of animals like bison and mammoths, seems to breathe life. How did they achieve such mastery without visible predecessors? Science is baffled, as there are no traces of such art before the Cro-Magnons. These masters created not only paintings, but also sculptures that continue to awe. For instance, small figurines of women, carved from bone and stone, demonstrate a deep understanding of anatomy and aesthetics. And that's not all. Their repertoire included musical instruments like flutes made from bone, capable of producing sounds that could outshine the melodies of nature. Among their technical achievements are needles with eyes, which allowed them to sew clothing with remarkable precision, and harpoons used for hunting, which significantly increased the chances of success. And what about the atlatls, spear throwers, which enabled them to launch weapons over long distances? This was not just a set of tools, it was a true revolution in hunting and survival. But where did these skills come from? Remarkably, some scientists suggest that the Cro-Magnons might have possessed knowledge passed down from earlier people who may have disappeared without a trace. The mystery of their appearance deepens when we look at these masterpieces created by people who seem to have come out of nowhere. In the silence of the caves, beyond our time, we can feel a connection with these ancient artists. Their art has endured for millions of years and continues to speak to us, as if they were looking at us from the depths of time. What did they want to say? What stories are hidden behind each painting, each figurine? Abandoned temples, once places of worship, now fall silent, their stone faces, covered in green, gaze at us as if waiting for answers to questions that remain unanswered. In every crack, in every weathered stone, there is a story waiting to be uncovered. Legends of sunken continents have captivated adventurers for centuries. Did you know that the myth of Atlantis originates from the philosopher Plato, who described this mysterious island state in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias as a place where a highly educated civilization flourished? In these texts, he mentioned that Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is the modern Strait of Gibraltar, and was twice as large as Libya and Asia combined. However, the details of its disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. The island, according to Plato, was swallowed by the sea in a single night and day, leaving only a whisper of memory in the roar of the waves. Since then, researchers and archaeologists have tried to determine the location of Atlantis, proposing increasingly bold hypotheses. Some scientists point to the Mediterranean Sea, suggesting that it could have been one of the Minoan civilizations on the island of Crete, where traces of catastrophic events have indeed been found. Others turn their gaze to the Atlantic Ocean, believing that the lost kingdom could have been located somewhere in its vast waters, on underwater plateaus such as the Azores. But that's not all. Some theories send us to the Arctic Ocean, where, as some believe, could have been submerged lands that previously connected continents. And did you know that researchers even consider Antarctica as a possible location for Atlantis? According to this theory, during its heyday, this continent could have been covered with green forests and warm rivers before becoming an icy wasteland. Each of these places holds its own secrets, and every whisper of waves on the shore sends shivers at the thought that beneath them might lie ancient secrets. What do you think happened to this extraordinary civilization? Each eclipse was seen as a sign that brought us closer to unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos. And the most astonishing thing? Modern astronomers still study ancient manuscripts to uncover secrets that could change our understanding of the universe. At one time, the Colossus stood majestically at the entrance to the harbor of Rhodes. The statue, which reached a height of 33 meters, was a sight that captivated the imagination of anyone approaching the island. This giant was made of bronze and placed on a massive stone base, adding to its grandeur and majesty. During the day, the bronze would gleam, reflecting the bright rays of the sun and creating an effect as if the statue itself was glowing. The craftsman who created the Colossus imbued it not only with physical strength, but also with symbolic significance. It represented the power and independence of Rhodes and served as a reminder of the victory over Macedonia. Imagine the ships entering the harbor seeing this statue from afar, with its imposing size evoking both awe and reverence. The sound of waves crashing against the base of the giant filled the atmosphere, and the wind passing by seemed like the whisper of ancient gods welcoming the sailors. There are many theories about the true purpose of the Colossus. Some historians claim that it was simply a statue symbolizing the prosperity of Rhodes, while others suggest that it could have been used as a lighthouse, guiding ships to a safe harbor. This version becomes particularly intriguing when considering that navigation was extremely challenging and dangerous at the time. Praised as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the statue attracted attention not only for its height, but also for the skill of its execution. However, despite its global fame, the Colossus stood for only 56 years before it was destroyed by a powerful earthquake. Its remains continued to draw travelers and adventurers who came to see the ruins of this great creation. The massive chunks of bronze scattered across the ground still inspired awe with their beauty and strength. Even centuries after its destruction, when the Romans arrived on the island, they were amazed at how majestic the ruins looked. There are accounts that some of the pieces were used in the construction of other buildings. Now imagine what would have happened if the Colossus had survived to our day. Many questions about its purpose remain unanswered. How exactly did ancient people use this artifact? Where did the knowledge of its use disappear to? And the most fascinating thing? History records instances where similar devices were used to generate electrical current, challenging our understanding of the technological achievements of ancient civilizations. In the north of Italy, in the caves of Liguria, mysterious cave paintings have been discovered that are causing a real sensation. These images depict strange figures resembling modern submarines and are thousands of years old. In the coolness of the caves, where a dim light prevails, these ancient drawings come to life, creating an atmosphere of mystery and enigma. The outlines of objects with rounded shapes and elongated parts are clearly visible, evoking associations with submarines. Archaeologists suggest that these images might not just be artistic interpretations, but evidence of more advanced technologies than previously thought. Some researchers claim these are proof of ancient maritime expeditions, while others believe they are merely stylized depictions of boats or even marine animals. The most shocking part? Some scientists insist that these drawings could represent more than just art. Perhaps they were attempts to capture underwater worlds that ancient people could observe. Before us lies a whole spectrum of interpretations, from science fiction to traditional views of life in ancient times. Each new study based on these findings raises more questions. For instance, how could people of that time have depicted on cave walls objects that look like submarines? And what is even more intriguing, how could such images be connected to the myths and legends of those distant times? Did ancient civilizations possess knowledge of the depths of the sea that we still cannot explain? These questions make us ponder what lies hidden behind these mysterious drawings. For instance, in 2018, a new group of statues was discovered hidden in the jungle, adding even more mysteries to this ancient history. And what is most astonishing? Some of the moai are supported by enormous stone platforms called ahu, which themselves are remarkable structures built with incredible precision. Did you know that something incredible? Discoveries about Earth being spherical began to appear much earlier than you might think. As early as the 6th century BC, the Pythagoreans already suspected that our planet is round, based on observations of the starry sky. They noticed how stars change depending on latitude, which led them to believe that Earth is not flat, but has an oblate shape. Aristotle, a philosopher and scientist in the 4th century BC, provided several compelling arguments asserting that Earth is round. He observed that the shadow of Earth during lunar eclipses was always circular, and he noticed that ships disappearing over the horizon did so from the bottom first, then the top. This observation was not only logical, but also a clear demonstration that the planet is spherical. But wait, there's more. Eratosthenes, who lived in the 2nd century BC, not only agreed with this theory, but also managed to accurately measure the circumference of Earth. He used various methods, including measuring the angle of sunlight in different cities, and arrived at an astonishing result. The circumference of Earth is approximately 350,000 kilometers, which is only a few % off from the modern value. This knowledge about Earth's sphericity was widespread among educated people in most ancient civilizations, in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and even among Indian scholars. Imagine how ancient navigators, looking at the stars, used the North Star as a guide, understanding that they were moving across the surface of a vast sphere. And what about the shadow of Earth on the moon during eclipses? Research shows that after the catastrophe, many cities remained abandoned for decades, and those who survived tried to rebuild their lives in a harsher new world. But what is truly shocking, despite all these destructions, some aspects of Minoan culture persisted, like graffiti on the walls of ancient streets, hinting at the grandeur that once was and the mysteries that continue to remain unsolved. In the highlands of Bolivia stand the Gates of the Sun, a magnificent portal that reaches a height of 3 meters and a width of 4. These monumental structures are carved from andesite, weighing around 10 tons, and their central bas-relief depicts a mysterious god with rays, seemingly generously distributing light. Strangely enough, This monument is not just an adornment. It may have served as an astronomical marker, linking ancient knowledge of the solar calendar with the rhythms of nature. Do you know what an equinox is? On the days of the equinoxes, when day and night are equal, the sun passes through these gates, illuminating their intricate surfaces and creating a mesmerizing interplay of light and shadow, which captivates even today. The orientation of the gates points precisely east, and their placement was meticulously planned. During the solstices, the shadows from the central figure cast at specific moments, creating a sense of sacred space. Imagine the ancient priests standing here, observing the movement of the sun, connecting it to life and death, the cycle of harvests, and perhaps divine messages. Surrounding the central bas-relief are enigmatic symbols, each potentially hiding profound mysteries until their meaning is deciphered. Some researchers claim these symbols may be linked to constellations or even ancient myths passed down through generations. The thin air of the highlands adds to the place's mystery. The light-filled atmosphere seems to imbue the space with a sense of holiness. Each crack in the stone, each indentation appears alive, as if nature itself whispers ancient tales. The time that has passed since its creation could be much more significant than we have ever thought, and its significance for the ancient civilization could have been not just ritualistic, but astronomical and cultural in a much broader sense than is usually discussed. But what is even more interesting is that research continues, and each new analysis can reveal even more shocking details about the Sphinx and its place in human history. In ancient texts from various cultures, one can encounter astonishing descriptions of flying chariots used by deities. For instance, in the Vedas of India, there are mentions of vimanas, celestial machines described as shining, radiant, and emitting light and fire. Sumerian tablets contain records of chariots of the gods, which could move across the sky, leaving behind trails of thunder and whirlwinds. Biblical texts also describe similar phenomena. The chariot of the Lord, surrounded by fiery beings, descends from the heavens, causing a strong wind and light. These descriptions raise many questions among researchers. Could ancient peoples describe real technologies they saw, or were these merely metaphors to explain natural phenomena? Erich von Däniken, a prominent proponent of the ancient astronaut theory, claims that these descriptions are evidence of contact with extraterrestrial beings. He believes that such chariots could have been flying machines that left traces in myths. However, opponents of this theory argue that these images are merely metaphorical constructs reflecting the fears and hopes of people of that time, explaining unknown natural phenomena. The radiance mentioned in the texts could symbolize sunlight, and thunder could represent natural disasters. But what exactly lies behind these ancient descriptions? Historical documents from different parts of the world, from India to Mesopotamia, confirm that such stories were popular and had a significant impact on culture. For example, ancient Egyptian texts also mention divine chariots descending from the heavens to people, accompanied by fiery light and strong winds. These symbols could signify divine intervention or reflect the nature and cosmos. Remarkably, even in modern times, we can find similar images in science fiction, where extraterrestrial technologies are depicted as something that can evoke both awe and fear. Scholars also note that in different parts of the world at the same time, similar technologies were used for metalworking. For instance, bronze appeared simultaneously in Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. These parallels cannot be coincidental, and each new fact only adds to the existing mysteries. How could such similar symbols and technologies have been created on different continents? Beneath the earth in Cappadocia lie true subterranean cities that could accommodate thousands of people, and this is not just a fantasy. Some of these cities extend to depths of up to 20 levels, equivalent to the height of a 20-story building, creating an astonishing network of tunnels and chambers that are breathtaking in their scale. Inside, one can find a complex infrastructure, ventilation shafts that provide fresh air, wells for water storage, and massive stone doors used to protect against unwanted visitors. This subterranean world not only amazes with its size, but also raises many questions about its purpose. Could these cities have served as shelters from persecution or enemy raids? Or were they used for wine production and storage, given Cappadocia's renowned vineyards? Perhaps they were religious centers where people sought refuge and solitude from the tumultuous life on the surface. The cool air of these underground chambers penetrates to the bone, and the muffled sound of footsteps in the tunnels creates a sense of security, as if you are in a different, safe world. The flickering light of torches reflecting off the walls of volcanic tuff adds an air of mystery, and each drop of water falling from the ceiling seems to tell its own story. What secrets do these subterranean labyrinths hide, and why were they built so deep underground? One of the most shocking theories suggests that these cities could have been used as temporary shelters for entire communities hiding from conquerors. But that's not all. Some researchers propose that they were places for religious rituals, where ancient people sought a connection with the divine. And what's even more astonishing? These subterranean cities have been found to contain traces of life dating back to a time when civilizations on the surface were just beginning to develop. And here's where it gets truly mind-boggling. There are even theories that this complex served as a calendar for ancient people, allowing them to track the change of seasons and important astronomical events. In light of this, Stonehenge becomes not just a monument, but a key to understanding ancient civilizations and their knowledge of our planet. Do you agree that such mysterious structures as Stonehenge might hold even more secrets than we can imagine? Imagine a boundless desert where, under the scorching sun, gigantic drawings are hidden, visible only from the height of a bird's flight. The lines of Nazca are not just pictures, but genuine masterpieces of ancient art that astound with their precision and scale. Some of these geoglyphs reach 370 meters in length and depict animals like hummingbirds, monkeys, and even lizards. Their lines are perfectly drawn, and the contours maintain their sharpness over centuries, despite the harsh conditions of the desert. But how were they created? Scientists suggest that the ancient inhabitants of the region used simple tools and methods to dig away the top layer of soil and expose the light sand beneath. Remarkably, even today these images remain a mystery. For what purpose were they created? One of the most popular theories is that the geoglyphs served as a calendar, helping to orient oneself in the seasons and time of year. Other researchers believe they could have been maps of water sources, indicating directions to vital resources in the arid climate. Picture ritual paths leading to these images as sacred places where people might leave messages for the gods. This was a place where reality and myth converged, and where each stone held stories waiting to be told. But what is even more captivating? Archaeologists continue to uncover new artifacts that could revolutionize our understanding of Minoan culture and its enigmatic architecture. Have you ever wondered where the legends of gods descending from the heavens come from? The theory of paleocontact suggests that ancient civilizations might not have been merely fantasizing, but actually encountering extraterrestrial beings. These mysterious encounters left their mark on culture. Cave paintings with figures resembling astronauts raise questions about what our ancestors truly saw. In the Indian Vedas, descriptions of vimanas, flying machines, can be found, which might resemble modern spacecraft, and this is not the only evidence. The Maya depicted cosmonauts on their frescoes, while medieval European artists vividly portrayed flying saucers on their canvases, all of which evoke bewilderment. How could ancient people interpret encounters with beings possessing technologies beyond their comprehension? Imagine the mix of awe and fear when the unknown appeared on the horizon and the sky was filled with bright lights. Proponents of the theory point to the sudden appearance of complex technologies and civilizations seemingly arising from nowhere, such as in the case of ancient Egypt, where the pyramids were built with remarkable precision. However, the scientific community is skeptical of such claims, attributing them to human imagination and cultural exchange. Nevertheless, the mystery remains. How did ancient people perceive such events? How did they explain phenomena beyond their understanding? Scientific data on possible contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations still remain in the realm of hypotheses, and each new artifact opens new avenues for discussion. Quando os buscadores da verdade se reuniam sob as estrelas, sentiam como uma invisível corda os conectava com as antigas civilizações, transmitindo conhecimentos secretos que foram guardados por séculos. Sabia que muitas dessas práticas e símbolos ainda são utilizados em ensinamentos e rituais modernos? Have you ever heard of Stonehenge, this mysterious stone complex standing in southern England? More than 30 tons of blocks are arranged with such precise astronomical calculations that it seems someone initially created it as a giant observatory. Scientists still debate its true purpose. Some believe it was a ritual center, while others suggest it was used for healing. Indeed, when the wind passes through these ancient stones, it feels as if they whisper secrets of the millennia. These massive blocks, weighing up to 50 tons, were transported from distances of up to 240 kilometers, which is astonishing. How did ancient people manage to move such enormous stones without modern equipment? One theory proposes that they used a system of rollers and sleds, which seems laborious but also ingenious. Imagine the sunbeams that penetrate between the stones on certain days of the year, creating an unparalleled atmosphere and emphasizing their grandeur. These moments of light and shadow alignment likely held significant meaning for the ancient inhabitants of the area. But that's not all. Some researchers claim that Stonehenge could have been part of a larger network of similar structures that connected ancient tribes. Did you know that the sounds the stones make when the wind hits them can resemble whispers? This creates an atmosphere where it's hard not to believe in the magic of the place. Given that they could predict eclipses with an accuracy of several hours, it is clear that their calendar system was not just a tool for tracking time, but a powerful means of connecting earthly affairs with cosmic order. The Aztecs truly created a unique concept of time, where every moment had its own significance and place in the endless chain of events. In Pumapunku, high in the mountains of Bolivia, lies a mystery that has intrigued archaeologists and scientists for centuries. Massive stone blocks, weighing up to 800 tons, are so precisely cut that not even a knife blade can fit between them. These colossal structures, made of andesite and granite, incredibly hard materials that even modern tools struggle to process, are astonishing in their perfection. Imagine perfectly smooth surfaces that gleam in the sun and precise right angles that seem to have been laser cut. But there's more. Some blocks have intricate carvings and indentations that serve as joints with other stones, creating the illusion that they seamlessly blend together. What's even more astonishing? Researchers have found metallic clamps connecting these giants, but their purpose remains a mystery, as there are no written records of the construction of this extraordinary structure. How did people living more than 1,000 years ago create such masterpieces without modern technology? Imagine the thin mountain air wrapping around you as you stand among these ancient ruins, the silence broken only by the rustle of the wind. The contrast between the harsh, rugged landscape and the incredible precision of the stonework creates an atmosphere of mystery that makes you wonder about the knowledge and technologies that the creators of Pumapunku possessed. Considering all this information, we can only speculate about the role Nefertiti played in the life of Egypt and how her disappearance affected the country's future. And do you know what is most intriguing? We still do not have precise answers about her fate, and the mystery of Nefertiti continues to draw researchers, inspiring them to dream of the day when they might uncover her true history. Imagine how the ancient Egyptians created their sacred texts to help the souls of the deceased overcome the dangers of the afterlife. The Book of the Dead is not just a collection of spells, but a true survival guide for the Duat, where each page illuminated the path through the darkness. For instance, during the weighing of the heart before Osiris, the god of the underworld, the soul had to face judgment. If the heart was lighter than the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth, the soul could find eternal peace in the fields of Aru, the ideal paradise where eternal spring reigned. But if the heart was heavy with sin, the soul faced terrible trials. The monster Ammit, ready to consume it forever. What's even more astonishing, the Duat held not only dangers, but also trials that tested the courage and faith of the soul. Funeral rituals were true works of art. Bodies were mummified using salts and oils to preserve them for eternal life. Picture the solemn procession of the mummy to the tomb, surrounded by flickering torches, while priests chanted spells to protect the deceased from evil. Inside the tomb, various objects were placed, from amulets to food, to accompany the soul on its journey. Each element had meaning. For example, silver mirrors reflected light, driving away darkness, and special incantations protected against harmful creatures. The most intriguing part? Research shows that some tombs contained even miniature figurines that could perform tasks for the soul in the afterlife, like real servants. The walls of the tombs were adorned with scenes from the Book of the Dead, depicting the rituals and trials awaiting the soul, creating an atmosphere of sacred anticipation. It is important to note that such discoveries can change our understanding of history and technologies that existed in the past. But that's not all. On the cave walls, researchers have also found images that, according to some, could be maps of underwater currents, challenging our conventional notions of ancient seafaring. How could this have been possible? Have you ever wondered how ancient civilizations could observe the heavens with such precision? For instance, the Maya determined the length of the solar year with an accuracy of up to 20 seconds, which even puts modern technologies at a disadvantage. They used complex astronomical tables and observed the sun's movement, allowing them to predict eclipses and determine the time for planting. The Babylonians, in turn, developed methods that enabled them to predict lunar eclipses years in advance. Their astronomical observations took place on large platforms where, in the silence of temple observatories, they recorded the movements of celestial bodies, inscribing their findings on clay tablets. And here's where it gets really astonishing. The builders of New Grange created a structure where sunlight illuminated the interior space only on the winter solstice, demonstrating the incredible accuracy of their calculations. But that's not all. The ancient Greeks invented the Antikythera mechanism, which is actually the earliest known analog of a computer. This complex mechanism was used to calculate the movements of celestial bodies and predict solar and lunar eclipses, with its components being so precise that even today's scientists continue to study it to understand how it worked. Imagine the night sky, filled with stars, opening up before ancient observers, and their hearts swelling with awe at the grandeur of the cosmos. They built observatories where they could spend hours tracking the planet's movements, noting every change in their paths. All this created a remarkable synthesis of science and spirituality, where astronomy was not just knowledge, but a whole philosophy. Do you know that some ancient peoples considered stars not just celestial bodies, but the souls of ancestors watching over them? This perspective added even more significance and depth to their observations. But what does the road to Bimini truly hide? Will new mysteries be revealed as scientists continue their research in these waters? Each new underwater expedition could bring astonishing discoveries that will change our understanding of the past. Is there indeed a connection between this mysterious structure and the myths of lost civilizations, or is it merely a trick of nature? Who knows what else awaits discovery at the bottom of the ocean? In the Knossos Palace, which astounded archaeologists with its complex and multi-layered design, secrets lie hidden that could even stir the hearts of the most seasoned adventurers. Imagine wandering through its multi-level structures, with over 1,000 rooms connected by intricate corridors, seemingly designed to confuse anyone who dares to enter. These corridors are not mere random passages. They were engineered with advanced solutions that provided ventilation and lighting, creating a remarkable play of light in the rooms. Vibrant frescoes adorn the walls, depicting scenes from the lives of the Minoans, including the bull cult, which was an integral part of their religious practices. Did you know that this cult inspired the legend of the Minotaur, who was said to dwell in the labyrinth beneath the palace? At the heart of the palace lies the throne room, where rulers once held court, and its stone throne became a symbol of power. But what is truly astonishing is that elements of control, such as Linear A, which was used for record-keeping and managing resources, are still preserved in this hall. Picture workers filling the storage rooms with goods, and the sounds of palace life, from laughter to conversations, echoing through the corridors, creating a sense of constant movement and activity. The scent of the sea, wafting through the open courtyards, filled the air, while the bright sun illuminated the light wells, casting extraordinary light effects on the walls. In this scorching climate, where temperatures can reach 35 degrees Celsius, such figures become signs that watch over the world from above, like ancient gods waiting for their names and stories to be forgotten. The Giant of Atacama is not just a drawing. It is a part of the cultural heritage that continues to inspire interest and admiration among researchers and travelers eager to unravel its mysteries. Imagine a world where thriving cities, filled with vibrant frescoes and intricate architectural forms, suddenly plunge into chaos and panic. The Minoan civilization on Crete was renowned for its luxurious palace complexes, which featured advanced water supply and sewage systems comparable to modern standards. These people were masters of maritime trade, establishing connections with neighboring cultures throughout the Mediterranean, their ships traversing the seas like modern container ships. But what happened to this magnificent civilization? Around 1600 years before our era, the world of the Minoans faced a catastrophic volcanic eruption on the island of Santorini. Thunder rumbled as if the earth itself was tearing apart, and clouds of ash blotted out the sun, leaving cities in darkness. Volcanic activity triggered tsunamis up to 30 meters high, crashing onto the shores of Crete, destroying ports and annihilating their fleet, which was the foundation of their trade. This event, as researchers suggest, could have been a catalyst for climate changes leading to crop failures and famine. But that's not all. Some scientists propose the hypothesis of a Mycenaean invasion, which could have exploited the weakened state of the Minoans to begin seizing territories. Internal social conflicts could also have played a role in the fall of this great civilization. Archaeological findings of destroyed palaces and a sharp decline in population raise questions about the speed and unexpectedness of this collapse. In once prosperous cities, panic reigned as people tried to save their lives as waves crashed onto the shores, and the roar of the eruption drowned out cries for help. Picture people who once lived in harmony and prosperity, now fleeing in fear, leaving behind only ruins. Just like other ancient cultures, the Cappadocians had their own unique security system to protect their secrets from outsiders. The technologies used in their construction are awe-inspiring. They managed to create an entire world beneath the earth that continues to baffle scientists. At the foot of a hill in the Atacama Desert, where the scorching air parches everything alive, stands a colossal anthropomorphic geoglyph known as the Giant of Atacama. Its height reaches 191 meters, making it one of the largest geoglyphs in the world. Imagine the dark lines of the figure, laid out with stones and sand, starkly contrasting with the bright light background of the desert, as if it were an ancient message left for observers from above. This geoglyph, likely created more than 2,000 years ago, continues to be a subject of debate among scientists regarding its exact age. One of the most prevalent theories suggests that the Giant of Atacama served as an astronomical marker, pointing to significant moments in the solar and lunar cycles. However, this is not all. Some researchers propose that this giant was connected to fertility cults, symbolizing a deity that brought the rains so vital for survival in this arid region. Another theory posits that the figure indicated the location of water sources, which were crucial for the ancient inhabitants of such harsh conditions. Gazing at the Giant of Atacama evokes a sense of awe and reverence, as if you are looking at something that has endured centuries and still holds its secrets. The technique used to create such geoglyphs involves removing the top layer of soil, exposing the dark ground beneath and creating clear outlines. This is a labor-intensive process that requires coordination and precision, as each element of the design must match the intended image. When sunlight falls on the geoglyph, it seems to come to life, and you realize that it is not just an image, but a part of a complex system of symbols left for posterity. The question of what exactly stood behind these ancient descriptions remains open. Were they real observations or mere fiction? Research continues, and new discoveries may reveal even more intriguing secrets about what really happened in ancient times. Remarkably, on the map created by Piri Reis in 1513, the coastline of Antarctica is depicted, which has been hidden under a thick layer of ice for centuries. As an admiral of the Ottoman Empire, Piri Reis compiled this map using, as he claimed, ancient sources, including maps created before our era. On his map, one can notice details that seem incredible. For instance, the contours of land that modern science only began to study in the 20th century. This map raises many questions. Where did he get such precise data about terrains that were not known in his time? Modern research shows that some of these maps could have been based on earlier, highly advanced civilizations that may have possessed technologies of navigation and cartography about which we are only beginning to suspect. There are even hypotheses that Piri Reis used maps created by civilizations that existed before the last ice age. But this is not the most astonishing thing. On other ancient maps, such as the map of Da Gama or the map of Mercator, one can also notice mysterious contours that, according to some researchers, could relate to territories that were not known to Europeans until the 16th century. It is important to note that many of these maps were created using quite primitive tools, but their accuracy in depicting coastal lines challenges our understanding of the development of navigation in those times. And here is where things get really bizarre. Some scientists claim that the maps of Piri Reis and other cartographers could have been used for navigation in regions that remained unexplored for centuries. For example, the coastal line depicted on the map matches modern data on underwater reliefs, which again challenges our understanding of the development of geography in the past. If you thought this was all, further research shows that under the layer of ice, not only lands, but also artifacts of ancient civilizations that once inhabited these territories could be hidden. But do you know what is even more shocking? Each turn of the spiral could tell us how they gazed at the sky, how they sought answers to questions that concern us all. But what if it is all just fantasy? It is important to remember that science is not static, and with each new discovery, new questions arise. And who knows what secrets these granite discs hold, waiting to be uncovered by future scientists. Imagine the ancient Egyptians, armed with only simple tools, creating structures that continue to amaze us today. How did they manage to work with granite, which has a hardness of 7 on the Mohs scale, with such exceptional precision? Many scholars still puzzle over this mystery. The incredibly smooth surfaces, perfectly straight angles, cylindrical drillings with deviations of only a few millimeters, these are not mere coincidences, but the result of skill and perhaps unique technologies. The polished granite reflects sunlight in such a way that it seems alive. The smoothness of its surface has endured for millennia, and even today, when you touch it, you feel the cold and resilience that is unforgettable. But how did they achieve this? One popular theory suggests that ancient craftsmen used abrasive sand and copper saws. Picture this. Thousands of years ago, in the desert, working with heavy materials like diorite, which has a hardness of 7 to 8, they could create such masterpieces. But this is not all. Some researchers propose that they might have used sound technologies, which, surprisingly, could cause the stone to vibrate to such an extent that it became more pliable for processing. The sound of the stone when struck could resemble a melody that only those who knew the secrets of these technologies would hear. What if some of these secrets were lost forever? When we look at basalt, which has a hardness of 6, we see not just a stone, but a testament to ancient technologies that may have been more advanced than we can imagine. These massive blocks are not only perfectly cut, but also shaped in such a way that they fit together perfectly, creating walls that have stood for centuries. How is this possible? Some even believe that stone processing technologies could have been linked to astronomical knowledge that the ancient Egyptians used to align their structures. Could they have used stars to orient their buildings with such precision? In each Sumerian city, there was a temple where priests studied the stars, and this process was not just religious, but scientific, laying the foundations for future astronomers. How many more secrets are hidden in these clay tablets waiting to be discovered? According to ancient texts, one can find references to technologies that seem incredible by today's standards. In the Mahabharata, there are descriptions of shining weapons that cause light brighter than 1,000 suns. After their use, food becomes poisoned, and those who survive lose their hair and nails. How do you think this weapon, comparable in power to a nuclear explosion, might have looked? Vedic texts mention something even more extraordinary: flying machines called vimanas, which, as claimed, could travel through the air faster than the speed of sound and even orbit the Earth. Imagine how ancient Indian sages described these machines using archaic language that contrasts with the modern sound of their functions. There is a sense of awe when reading about mirrors mentioned in Chinese literature that could transmit images over distances. This is like magic, but perhaps it was technology that was lost or forgotten. Reflecting on such texts, it's impossible not to wonder, did ancient civilizations truly possess such advanced methods that were beyond our modern understanding? Or are these just metaphors for explaining natural phenomena that we cannot comprehend? Each ziggurat, from Ur to Babylon, held within it many stories and secrets related to the culture and beliefs of its creators. And just when you think you know everything about these ancient monuments, the question arises, what other mysteries are hidden within the depths of these stone sanctuaries? Do you know that ancient civilizations created water supply and sewage systems that even modern engineers are amazed by? The Roman aqueducts, stretching for tens of kilometers, used gravity to transport water from mountain sources, creating lifts up to 30 meters high. These magnificent structures, made of stone and brick arches, supplied cities with water essential for drinking, irrigation, and even public baths. In Rome, there were real thermae, where the echo of water flowing in marble fountains mixed with the conversations of people enjoying water treatments. But that's not all. In Mohenjo-Daro, one of the most mysterious cities of the Indus civilization, a complex sewage system was found, including street drains and individual flush toilets that worked over 4,000 years ago. Imagine water flowing through terracotta pipes laid under the streets, and how the city's residents could enjoy cleanliness and comfort in their homes. And in Crete, in the Minoan palaces, a water supply system of terracotta pipes, hidden under the floors, provided water for ritual ablutions and irrigation of gardens, creating a contrast between the coolness of the underground cisterns and the hot air of the open spaces. What's even more astonishing, the Minoans used toilets that were true works of art, with a flushing system reminiscent of modern toilets. These achievements show that ancient engineers already understood the importance of hygiene and comfort. While the streets of ancient cities could be dusty and dirty, the clean flowing water in the canals created oases of freshness and coziness in this world. In Rome, where life was bustling and noisy, every drop of water was precious, and its distribution was meticulously planned. Aqueducts not only supplied the city with water, but also became symbols of the power of the Roman Empire, demonstrating how far technology had advanced. But how could these amazing structures have lasted for centuries? For instance, in 2009 in Peru, mysterious rock paintings were discovered, which, according to some researchers, depict something resembling spacecraft. What are these? Traces of visits, or merely myths? In a world where reality and fantasy intertwine, such a question may remain unanswered. In the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, amidst the mysterious atmosphere of subdued light, researchers have come across peculiar bas-reliefs depicting elongated objects that evoke associations with modern incandescent lamps. These images, which clearly feature an element resembling a thread, are connected to what can be interpreted as a source of energy. Interestingly, Some researchers claim that this is evidence of the existence of electricity in ancient Egypt. However, not everyone shares this view. Alternative interpretations consider these bas-reliefs as symbolic representations of the lotus and the rising sun, which hold deep significance in Egyptian mythology. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. In other parts of the country, gilded artifacts have been found that indicate the presence of complex chemical knowledge. For example, in tombs, vivid frescoes have been discovered, preserved by special technologies used by the ancient Egyptians to create pigments. These pigments, available only in certain regions, demonstrate remarkable skill and understanding of materials. Imagine the soft light gently falling on these enigmatic bas-reliefs, creating a sense of touching an ancient secret. But this is not all. In other temples, archaeologists have found similar images, raising even more questions about the possible knowledge of the ancients in the fields of physics and chemistry. And now, imagine that even today, after thousands of years, the technologies of the ancient Romans continue to inspire architects and engineers around the world, as their achievements in construction and design still form the basis for modern methods. For example, Roman concrete, known as opus caementicium, is considered one of the most durable building materials, and research shows that its composition may be even more resistant to cracks than modern concrete. Imagine a black basalt that has held the secrets of the ancient world for centuries. This is the Rosetta Stone. Its dimensions are impressive, approximately 70 centimeters in height and 45 centimeters in width, with 3 identical texts inscribed on its surface in 3 languages: Egyptian hieroglyphs, Demotic script, and Greek. And in the early 19th century, this stone became the key to unraveling one of history's most complex mysteries. Jean-François Champollion, a French linguist, spent years studying these texts, and his work led to a revolution in understanding ancient Egyptian writing. He noticed that the Greek text on the stone contained the names of well-known pharaohs, marking the first step in deciphering the hieroglyphs. Champollion used the contrast between the clear Greek letters and the complex hieroglyphic symbols to understand how they functioned. Each touch of the stone's rough surface felt like a touch of history itself. The signs carved into its dark surface seemed alive, as if trying to tell their stories. Even more fascinating, this discovery made it possible to read texts that had been forgotten for nearly 2,000 years. This opened the door to a world where pharaohs built pyramids and priests recorded their rituals. Now, these places lie abandoned, and only the wind whispers of their former glory. Have you ever wondered what secrets lie beneath the ruins of these cities? Some researchers believe that hidden beneath the earth may be forgotten treasures that could reveal more about the mysteries of their disappearance. Do you know that ziggurats, these monumental structures, once dominated the landscape of ancient Mesopotamia, like giant steps leading to the heavens? Some of them reached 90 meters in height, as if they were trying to touch the clouds, and their stepped form created an impression that they were in touch with the divine. Built from fired clay bricks, covered with glazed tiles, these constructions radiated colors and reflected light so that they could be seen from a distance. As one climbed the monumental staircases, consisting of wide platforms, a view of the city spread out below was revealed, and the sensation of approaching the heavens became almost tangible. The long shadows cast by the ziggurats at sunset created an atmosphere of mystery and grandeur, as if the gods themselves were watching what was happening on Earth. Researchers still debate the purpose of these structures. Some believe that ziggurats served as temples for worship, where priests could communicate with the gods, while other theories suggest that they were astronomical observatories, allowing ancient astronomers to observe the stars and predict seasonal changes. Imagine the breathtaking view of the night sky, studded with stars, from the top platform of a ziggurat, which could inspire contemplation of the cosmos and eternity. But there are also more practical theories. Some scientists believe that ziggurats could have served as refuges during floods that periodically inundated the fertile lands, providing safety and salvation for the inhabitants. And what if they were symbols of the world mountain, the mythical structure connecting earth and heaven, reflecting beliefs about the structure of the world. These multi-level buildings not only amazed with their size and architectural details, but were also surrounded by numerous mysteries that still defy clear explanation. Some of them assert that these bas-reliefs may represent something more than just artistic expression. How could it be that entire generations of people were familiar with concepts that we consider modern? And what is even more astonishing? In some ancient texts, mysterious lamps are mentioned, which could explain these images. Did you know that in Colombia, golden figurines were found that remarkably resemble modern airplanes? These artifacts, created by the Quimbaya culture, are astonishing in their design. Triangular wings, a vertical stabilizer, and a shape similar to the fuselage evoke not only admiration, but also many questions. Imagine these gleaming golden objects shining under museum lights, their elegance and detail taking your breath away. When researchers created scale models based on these figurines, they discovered that they could fly aerodynamically. This discovery makes one wonder, could ancient civilizations really have created flying machines? Or were these just stylized images of birds or insects, important to their culture? It's hard to miss the contrast between the primitive technologies used in their creation and the futuristic appearance of these artifacts. The golden airplanes, crafted with incredible precision, are more than just jewelry. They seem to anticipate technologies that were developed thousands of years later. Some researchers even suggest that these items could have been ritual objects or symbols of divine flight. How could such advanced forms have existed in an era when people were just beginning to master metalwork? Now imagine that these miniatures were not the only mysteries. Similar artifacts are also found in other parts of Colombia, raising questions about the connections between different cultures. The golden airplanes from Quimbaya become a key to unraveling the possible journeys and exchanges of knowledge between ancient civilizations. They symbolize the skill of jewelers, but also hint at the fact that in ancient times, there might have been beliefs about flight that we do not fully understand. And the most intriguing part, some research mentions the possibility of using these figurines as models for creating flying machines. Imagine these figurines in flight if ancient people had the means to realize their dreams of air travel. Some researchers are convinced that Piri Reis was not the only cartographer who possessed such knowledge. In other cultures, there were also maps that could have confirmed his discoveries, but they were lost or destroyed. Scientific research continues, and each new analysis can reveal even more mysteries about our ancestors and their understanding of the world. Imagine a time in the ancient world when there existed an artifact that could even astonish modern scientists: the Baghdad Battery. This clay vessel, created around 250 years before our era, harbors a true mystery. Inside it lies a copper cylinder surrounded by an iron rod, and it is this construction, as experiments have shown, that can generate a small electric current if filled with an electrolyte, such as vinegar or lemon juice. It is no wonder that many researchers are left wondering what the true purpose of this battery was. Some theories suggest it could have been used for galvanization, allowing for the creation of stunning decorative elements or enhancing the properties of metals. Others propose that it might have been used for medical purposes, such as treating various ailments by causing a slight tingling sensation that ancient people could feel upon contact with the functioning device. But that's not all. There are also versions that the Baghdad Battery could have been linked to religious rituals, creating miracles that would captivate the imagination of ordinary people. Picture the dull metal of the cylinder glowing in the light of torches when picked up, feeling the weight of the ancient artifact that could have revolutionized the understanding of technology of its time. How would it look at the modern world, and how would our perception of ancient art have changed? The questions remain open, and the mysteries about its purpose continue to captivate the minds of historians and tourists. But what is truly astonishing is that some researchers suggest that the Colossus could have had an astronomical significance, possibly indicating important astronomical events. The legend of the Hanging Gardens of Semiramis continues to captivate the imagination. Imagine terraces supported by massive columns, rising several stories above the ground. According to the legends, these gardens were filled with exotic plants that could transport you to a world far removed from the scorching heat of Mesopotamia. What is truly astonishing, however, is that despite their status as one of the 7 wonders of the world, archaeologists have yet to find any definitive remains, sparking endless debates about their actual existence. How could such a complex structure have been built? The irrigation system that lifted water from the Euphrates River was not just a necessity, but a true engineering marvel. Picture the water flowing through channels, creating a soothing sound that contrasts with the silence of the desert surroundings. The lush greenery of the plants growing on the terraces provided shade in the hot climate, where temperatures could reach 35 degrees Celsius. These gardens might have been a true oasis, where anyone could escape the scorching sun and enjoy the freshness and variety of vegetation. The upper terraces, adorned with vines, could be seen from afar, highlighting the contrast between the vibrant green and the gray sands of the desert. Scholars suggest that not only local plants, but also exotic species brought from distant lands were used, adding to the allure of this place. It is intriguing that many researchers even propose that the gardens could have had an astrological significance, pointing to important astronomical events. It always had a circular shape, providing yet another piece of evidence for the spherical theory. This knowledge left no doubts in the minds of the wise people of the time and inspired them to further research. Now imagine how many amazing discoveries still await us in the history of astronomy. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, a civilization appeared in Mesopotamia capable of remarkable feats. The Sumerians, who called themselves black-headed, began to build city-states that became centers of trade and culture. This is dated around 4,000 years before our era, and at that time, their knowledge covered areas such as astronomy and mathematics, which even today astonish modern scholars. The Sumerians created cuneiform, a system of writing consisting of many symbols that they inscribed on clay tablets using a sharp stylus, leaving traces that still tell us about the lives of ancient people. But that's not all. Their irrigation systems were so complex that they allowed them to cultivate the land even in conditions of severe drought, ensuring a stable harvest and, consequently, the development of society. Do you know that the Sumerians could observe the sky and distinguish 5 planets that are not visible without a telescope? They recorded the movements of Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, creating astronomical tables that served as the basis for their calendar. But what is shocking? The Sumerians believed that their civilization was a gift from beings known as the Anunnaki, who descended from the heavens and taught them everything they knew. Imagine the rustling of reeds in the marshes between the Tigris and Euphrates, where the inhabitants, aware of the stars, recorded their observations, creating myths about gods and heroes. In their mythology, there was no room for chance. Every aspect of life was connected to celestial bodies. These knowledge about the cosmos are not just amazing, they show how deeply the Sumerians understood the world around them. They even divided the sky into 12 constellations and determined important astronomical events, such as solar and lunar eclipses, which left their mark in their myths and rituals.